Yo, what's poppin', all my peeps? It is I, your host with the most renaissance man who always thinks he can, and champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back for another SmackDown breakdown presented by Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show. And you can't have Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show without the best of the West. You can't forget about Sarah Marshall back in the yard of streams. What's poppin', girl?
Hey, yo.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello,
my friends.
Hello to David and Bernard, who popped up here.
Hello.
What's poppin', guys? It's a great Saturday, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Might be raining and just raw and cold.
Oh, wait. I can make you feel bad about that.
Oh, great.
It's currently 99 here. Sunny and 99.
I take this weather over 99.
Yeah, it's actually not that bad. I know that it sounds crazy because my great-grandmother, when I lived in Massachusetts, my great-grandmother lived in Florida. And she would come up and visit, however so often. And it would even be during the summertime. And she would be wearing a sweater, and like complaining about being cold. And I never understood that because I was like, it's so hot outside. Like, it's muggy. It's gross. I don't understand. And then I lived in Arizona and now I totally understand. Like, it's so different. It really does just change your body temperature or something.
Sure,
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird. So it's like, 99, it's like, yeah, that's not that bad. But like, if you put 99 anywhere else, I would be like, I hate this. This is disgusting. I want to be anywhere but here. But
you're dragging yourself, melting on the sidewalk.
Yeah, and I obviously, the big thing about it is that there's no humidity. So 99 in Boston feels very different than 99 here because we are landlocked. So anyway, I would trade with you though. I wish we could get some rain.
Yeah, I'm in long pants and a long sleeve shirt. It's nice. I was out on the pier today and just weird. It was a weird day. But it gave me time to come back home, get some nice grub, had a nice honey mustard pizza, and then I rewatched SmackDown. So Sarah, we can't start right away, right? Because I have to get this out. That my SmackDown viewing experience last night was just chaotic.
Well, because we were recording because you were late.
Okay, sorry. I get a little tie-tie.
I'm just saying, you can't blame me.
No. Because here's the thing. It's not you and it's not of like anything. It is Mother Nature who is to full blame here.
Oh, that's right. Because your power went out.
So, yeah. So, Sore planned after we recorded, we were just going to chill here in the yard of streams and watch SmackDown together. And I'm like, absolutely. So I was like, Sore, I got to go to the bathroom quick. Like, let me just run up, say hi to my parents. I'll come back down. And I'm in the bathroom. We're doing that. And lights out.
Does that mean taking a deuce?
Yeah.
Okay.
Subtle.
Well, I've never seen this mean.
Two.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Two. So, but I am in my bathroom, pitch black, thunder, everything. And Sore is just like down, like it just like what happened. And I come downstairs, I'm like, you know what? I'm innovative. I MacGyvered the shit out of this. Threw SmackDown on my phone, YouTube TV, shout out. And then the light that I have here so you can see my face a little bit better. I plugged that into the laptop. So we had light, we had SmackDown, it was on a small TV. And then I like had to, go to fix something with my parents because the light was out or power was out, I mean. So I missed LA Night and a couple other things. So I was like, all right.
You're lucky though your internet didn't go out.
No, 5G.
Oh,
data.
That's right. Okay.
I use my data. Unlimited, baby. So I was like, screw this. I came home and we watched SmackDown. I'm so happy that I do the second rewatch.
Yeah.
Because especially with, we'll say, the main event of what we're going to talk about today.
Right. Yeah.
You catch a lot of details that you're not thinking about in the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy.
You're like trying to process everything.
Yeah. Like I had a very strong emotional reaction when we watched the main event of when I watched the main event of SmackDown last night. And then today was more of a you're watching it with like a mental pen and paper.
Yeah.
Like
I
picking
know.
things
I
out.
rewatched my three favorite parts because I wanted to show my sister.
Yeah.
So I rewatched Pretty Deadly coming out because I wanted her to hear their new song, which we'll get into.
We'll get
LA
it.
Knight winning, and then the main event. So it's very fresh in my brain too. So I'm
I'm
excited.
very it's nice. It's nice that we can come here in the Yardage Dreams, freshen our minds, and we're actually recording the SmackDown breakdown. It's nice that we're
Mhm.
doing it. So just kick things off, Sarah, because you do your thing on
Okay.
these recap shows. So I let you do your thing.
So firstly, I mean, other than obviously the entire show being centered around Roman Reigns, and we got a video and whatever, like a compilation video of his reign, we did start off the show with Austin Theory in the ring, and he's doing his typical thing, just selling himself, basically talking about how great he is. I thought it was funny because he was like, if you combine my reign with Roman Reigns, then we would be champion for 1,209 days right now. And I was just like, this is so ridiculous. But I I kind of felt like it was a little bit of a different vibe from him. Like we had talked about how there were allegedly some talks backstage or whatever about changing him a little bit or like doing something to, I don't know, kind of get him more over with the fans or something. And I don't know, I might be looking into it too much, but I just felt like there was a little bit more of a comedic aspect to what he was saying,
Oh
even
yeah.
though for the most part it was serious and he wasn't like making fun of himself. But it just felt very different than what we've seen from him this far, and I actually really liked it. Like, I caught myself, like, smiling or, like, enjoying what he was saying, and
Yeah.
so that surprised me a little bit.
The thing I'm picking up with Austin Theory right now is he seems a lot more loose. And
Yeah.
he's not I don't want to say comfortable in the negative way, but he's getting kind of acquainted with being a champion, but not only a champion, someone who has to cut promos and not doesn't have to be serious all the time as the
Mhm.
protege and all that. Like he can just be Austin Theory. Like what is A Town Down or ATL
Mhm.
Live? Let your promos and let what you say on the mic, show that or demonstrate that for us. And he's doing a good job at like he's in a tough position because he's the secondary champion.
Mhm.
Gunther, you do that battle of like what's the more prestigious, like what the kind of the yin and yang of both. You need to have a guy who is kind of lighthearted, comedic, to be the other side of that coin. And he's doing a great job. Like he just knows it. Like he gets it. It's one of those things where you either get it, you don't.
Yeah.
He
And
gets
I
it.
mean, he was definitely dealt a difficult card, like you said, to begin with, being the poster boy for Vince McMahon. And I mean, that was rough anyway, because it's basically like the curse, from what we've seen over the
Yeah.
years. Anybody that is propped up by Vince McMahon on television generally doesn't do too hot for very long. And then,
No.
of course, everything then went down with the allegations and him leaving. So it was just a lot for him to try and overcome. And it's been like a roller coaster, I would say, over the past year, having him to deal with that. So I'm interested to see if this is like the direction that he's going to continue going in, because I actually just, I don't know, I thought it was entertaining. I wouldn't have minded watching it again. I actually did watch a little bit of what he said again
Mhm.
today. So I was like, okay, that's a big jump for me when it comes to Austin Theory, because otherwise he's just kind of like, I don't really care what's going on. But what I did think was interesting too is who he paired up with last night. So we had Austin Theory with my boys.
Yes, boy! Yes, boy! Yes, boy! Yes, boy! Yes, boy! Yes, boy!
Yes, boys.
And their dynamic was great. Like throughout just the beginning, like when they came out before the match happened, I just loved everything about it. I watched this little video that they did backstage with an interview. It was just, I just loved it. And I think part of it is because of the energy that I think Pretty Deadly brings is so infectious that, like, you can't not kind of feed off that, and so Theory definitely did. And I just loved how the match went. Honestly, you kept seeing um the what we've been seeing so far from Pretty Deadly is like the trickery in the ring, you know, pretty of Elton and Kit like switching, and
Mhm.
I don't know, I really enjoyed it, and you know, I'm glad to see they got the win
Yeah,
also
that was one thing I was gonna bring up is that they're being treated right in the sense that they're
so
actually
far.
getting they're getting matches, they're getting screen time, but not only that, they're not being made fools in the ring. You know,
Mhm.
yeah, they're gonna get beat up and they're gonna have the guy put their signature move or one of their vintage moves on them, but then they're heels, so they're gonna sneak out with a win somehow. They're
Mhm.
going to be up to some trickery and conniving and all that because that's who they are. And it's good to see that being brought up on SmackDown because there needs to be more tag teams to be highlighted, especially
Mhm.
with the new reign of KO and Sammy. You need
Yeah.
to have kind of twice the talent because you need Raw and SmackDown to both have that so they can go to both shows and you have that balance. So I love Pretty Deadly now. I'm very happy you turned me on to them.
And they're just so good.
They're
That's
unbelievable.
you know, and that's something that I've mentioned on here so many times is people seem just very turned off about their gimmick, which I still think is kind of ridiculous, but you know, that I don't need to talk about that again.
Each
So
their own.
I just think that people need to pay attention to how they perform in the ring. I mean, other than if you don't want to listen to them talk, if you don't find them entertaining, that's whatever, but they're really good in the ring and you can't deny that. So this I thought was an interesting pairing, but it made sense.
Yeah.
You know, compared to other times where they'll randomly put three guys together to go 3-on-3, and it's like I don't understand this, but this made complete sense. So I really enjoyed it. It was a long match too. They
They got
got
two
one or two
commercial breaks.
commercials.
They
Yeah.
got two commercial breaks. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
So I loved that because I mean, I was not the most optimistic when it came to bringing Pretty Deadly up to the
You were
main
not.
roster,
You
and
were not.
so far it's going well, and that excites me, and I hope that it continues because I mean they're I don't know, like performing so well, it would be kind of foolish to not keep them on TV, you know.
Listen to the fans. They've been
I
good doing
know.
a good job of it. So
And I wanted to talk about their new song too. So we know what their theme was in NXT, and they changed that when they came up to the main roster, which I was fine with because we even said it felt like an elevated version of their NXT theme, and we liked it. I mean, it was like what 1 or 2 weeks that we heard it,
yeah,
and
and it was just like it was like, okay, this isn't
yeah,
stupid. It's good.
and then they debuted a new one on SmackDown, and I watched it again, as I said, you know, just a couple hours ago, and I feel like I've warmed up to it a little bit, but I don't love it, honestly. I felt like their one from last week, the elevated version, as we said, that just felt like them, and this one feels like them kind of, but it just I think it's the singing. It's like the lyrics and whatever is kind of distracting, and it doesn't fit their vibe of how they've come out, you know, when they stand there and they're like, you know,
Slow
checking themselves.
motion.
Right. And then the arms that they do, and it just didn't seem to work together because they had it down, like the way they moved. And so this I was just kind of I don't know, I was a little disappointed about it.
There's some times in wrestling where an entrance should only be music,
Yeah.
and this is the perfect example of that. The singing in it just feels like it's a forced wrestler that is going out to the ring to get their ass beat, and it could be Joe Schmo, you know, Moho, whoever, going out to the ring to get
Mhm.
their ass squashed. Where that's their one from last week. It felt like, all right, this is like a pretty good tag team, like up and comers. Oh,
Yeah.
they're pretty entertaining. You know, it gave a little bit of life and pop to it. Where this just sounded like, oh, another one of these guys.
Yeah, I felt
Yeah.
last week just felt like dancey, like the way that they
Yeah.
came out it was kind of dancey and whatever, and it felt like that fit them. Like it wasn't a huge jump from how they made their entrance in NXT to that. So I felt like, okay, this is cool, because at first I was like, oh, they changed their song, but then you're like, okay, this is a vibe, this is cool, I like it. So their new one, I'm unsure about it. It's probably something that we'll get used to. I just hope I don't have the same reaction to it the way I do with like A-Town Down, because I hate A-Town Down. And I'm like, I don't want to, hate the song that some of my favorite guys come out to. So we'll see. I mean, they might be kind of going through a transition phase where they're trying to figure out like what they like the best. I don't know.
Yeah, like even
But
Randy Orton came out to This Fire Burns.
that is insane.
It's okay.
That
There's actually a
yeah.
video of all like wrestlers that came out to like one theme.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. If I can find it and rewatch it, I would love to, because the
Yeah.
different music that came out was hilarious.
Whoever thought Randy Orton coming out to that song was a good idea, I want to pick their brain and be like, can you explain your reason? Because
did
like
not-
there's nothing about that song that fits Randy Orton at all.
Way
Like
too hard.
yeah,
Way
it fit CM Punk to
Perfect
a
for
T.
CM Punk.
But Randy Orton, I'm like, oh, is it because he has tattoos and you want him to be a bad guy and this sounds like a bad guy song? Like it's just weird. Anyway, so we did get more NXT.
Hold on, we have a comment. I want to hear
Okay.
from Bernard, who says that he has some news concerning the women's titles.
Oh,
He said give him a few minutes. We talked for a few minutes, so I will wait for him. And in the meantime, Kingdom Razor wants me. What?
I had a
Oh,
sneeze and I didn't want to sneeze on camera.
okay, okay, good. As long as that, you're in charge. If Sarah, you're on the main roster, would you be a face or a heel, singles or head of a faction? I mean, you would just be a heel doing your thing, maybe a championship or two, but you're in the midst there. You're on the, I can't think of the word right now, but like you're on the main card is what I'm saying. Like you're not NXT. So
I appreciate
and you're on
that.
Raw. You're
I
on
feel
Raw.
like, oh yeah, I have to be. Like you would
Yeah,
be
you're
the
not-
baby
you're
face.
not worthy
You would be
of
the
it.
baby face on SmackDown.
Damn right. It's the people's champ.
And if
Which-
not, then what's going on? Who's booking you? It's a big mistake.
Whoever's needs to be done right. I work with only the best bookers around. Wait, you know what? We'll let Bernard get to whatever his news is. And in the meantime, let's talk about one of my favorite people, my favorite call-ups from NXT.
Grayson Waller.
So in on Grayson Waller.
I
He is so
kind of am.
charismatic.
Yeah, I'm kind of into it. You
Oh my
know,
God,
I've
he's
never been
electric.
out on him. I just didn't like, I didn't watch NXT religiously, so I wasn't super into a lot of people other than obviously like Pretty Deadly. So like I would watch their segments or whatever, or their matches. But Grayson was always, I mean, obviously he catches your eye because he's so different. First of all, he's Australian. There's not that many Australians that have ever come through WWE, so that makes him stand out, first of all. And his character is just like flawless. He's always in character too. He's another one of those guys that's never not Grayson Waller, So it was cool. We got a Grayson Waller effect again, but this time Asuka was his guest, and I am obsessed with this entire thing. I think it was so great just because of, I mean, obviously they were talking about Asuka beating Bianca at Night of Champions for the Raw Women's Championship, but their whole dynamic of Waller just like not understanding anything that Asuka said, but
totally
cracking up and selling it for her. I loved that. And he mentioned that they were sitting in the ring and there were the two briefcases above them, and that a lot of women were going to be gunning for Asuka's championship, including Bianca. And that was when the women just started to come out. So first we get Io Sky, who comes out. Her and Asuka go back and forth in Japanese, whatever they were saying. I haven't found a translation, so I'm not sure yet.
Do you like that I don't want to stop you here, but like, do you like that they did that and went in Japanese and they didn't make them talk in English?
Yes, I like it because that's who they are,
Authentic.
like that's their background, and I don't have to understand what they're saying to like take a guess at what they're saying or to be entertained. Like, I'm entertained and I want to see them in a match anyway, because that would be absolute fire. So I don't mind it at all. I don't mind. And then after Io, then comes Bailey saying, you know, her or Io are going to win the Money in the Bank briefcase, so they will be cashing in on Asuka.
Her or Io.
Yeah, her or Io. And
wink,
then
wink.
and then Shotzi comes out and she's
I'm
all
a
like,
psycho. I'm a
I know.
psycho.
She comes out and is like, who is better equipped for this match to like be hit with steel steps or whatever she was saying, the steel ladder, than me? And I'm like, girlfriend, you were a hot mess last year, but that's okay. And then we got the female Sergeant Slaughter finally.
Yeah, dude.
Finally.
It's uncanny.
It's
like the mannerisms.
We'll talk about the match in a second, like Lacey specifically, because I actually have positive things to say about her. So yeah. And then after Lacey comes out and is all like blah 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 blah, you know, just saying that she's going to be the champion, she deserves it, whatever.
Yeah.
Then we get Zelina, who is Lacey's opponent in the matchup, and she's doing the exact same thing, saying, you guys are underestimating me, I might be the smallest, but I am the most determined, blah blah blah. And the part that I loved was Grayson's commentary to the whole thing, being like, this is the best day of my life. Like, I'm in the ring with all these women. Where are the others? Why? Let them all come out. And I was like, this is why he's so great. Because, like, he's not really a part of what is happening right now, has no reason to be a part of it at all. But it was so good. It was so entertaining.
It was unreal. Yeah.
But the main takeaway that... Yeah, before we get into breaking down the match, I did notice that I don't think Grayson was on TV last week. He's kind of been like appearing and then not appearing and then appearing. I was really looking forward to a Grayson Waller versus AJ Styles match. I thought we were going to get that feud because that's what it seemed like in the lead up to Night of Champions. And it appears that we're not getting that because we saw the OC on SmackDown and they're continuing their back and forth with Hit Row. So
Hit Row.
I don't know if we're just going to ignore that, but it kind of bums me out a little bit because the potential of Grayson Waller versus AJ Styles, I feel like, is there. Like, I'm kind of bummed about it, honestly.
Let it play out. I don't think
we'll see.
Not going to happen. I just think that we're not going to get it right now. There's no real need for it. At this point, you want to build up the OC. You don't need to build up AJ Styles. At this point, to be honest, you don't really need to build up Grayson Waller. Just give him screen time and let him build him up because he'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you want to build up the OC. You want to have them feud with Hit Row because, one, it gets Hit Row on television. Thank God. And two, it builds up more stars, builds up more guys. And then BFAB might get in the ring.
Maybe. I know we haven't seen that really yet. So, but yeah, I'm curious to see who his first like feud is going to be because I want to see him in the ring. He's one of the remaining NXT call-ups that we haven't seen yet, like have a match and have a feud yet. So hopefully that's soon because, you know, as great as the Grayson Waller effect is, we want to see him in the ring. That's the whole point. So, and because this took off from the Grayson Waller effect, we saw Zelina Vega versus Lacey Evans for the Money in the Bank qualifying match, which I believe this was the first women's one. And it was an okay match. I felt like, you know, other than you knew that Zelina was going to win, obviously, because Lacey's not been around. I felt like Lacey actually looked really good in the ring. And I think that this character fits her so well. And I like it a lot better than what she had before, where she was wearing like the more girly outfit and whatever. I feel like this fits her. This works. And I feel like she could be a really good opponent for like Rhea if she were on Raw. Like if Lacey were more consistently on TV, their match I feel like could be good. I don't mean like Charlotte Rhea good.
No, but good.
But yeah, because they're both very similar. Like they're very strong and very dominant in the ring. And so it'd be really cool, I feel like, to see them match up. And it would be a lot better than, you know, them throwing Natalya to Rhea and having her just have a squash match. Like
Poor Natalya.
That would be so much better. I know, and on her
Mortal Kombat.
birthday. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
rude.
I know they flew her all the way to Saudi to have her in a squash match on her birthday. You know, like what did she do? That's what I would say. Who did she piss off?
Ain't no
'Cause
love in the heart of the city. Just ain't
apparently.
no love.
So Selena wins, and she is the first woman to qualify for the Money in the Bank ladder match. And then we also had LA Knight versus Montez Ford in the only other Money in the Bank qualifying match. And my first question is, could this have been any better? Could this match have been any better? I feel
No.
like it was really good. I know. I felt like they worked really well together.
So good together.
And
So good together.
I felt like LA was able to put on one of his better matches. Like they were able to feed off each other, and we saw things that we haven't seen from LA Knight, like that moonsault. Like I don't care if it didn't work out well or whatever. I'm like, what? You can do that? Like you are a giant man. How do you do that? So I thought it was a really great match.
It was really good in the sense that you really had no clue who was going to win that.
I
You had
know.
no idea. So that adds another element to it. And the fact that LA Knight put on that good of a TV match with Montez Ford. Montez Ford, I know we're really trying to hype up LA Knight here, but I feel so bad for Montez Ford right now because that dude is being primed or is just on his way to being a future WWE champion. That man has it. Becky Lynch talked about it. Montez Ford has it. The way he walks around the ring, the way he's explosive with his moves. You know, he's not going at you. He's going at you really can, calculate or whatever. And then quick, boom, explosiveness move. So it makes it's that extra little like, oh, geez, that was a lot more damaging or whatever than it seemed like it was. And the splash too, I'm big. I don't know how many frog splashes should be considered finishers, but he like the amount of air he gets onto it, it plays, and I want to see him in that main title picture. However, it's not like LA Knight getting the win. I just you gotta go with the fans. Did you hear?
I know. I wanted to talk about that. Like
it was unbelievable.
Well, and what was crazy is they were loud for Montez. Of course they were, because they always are. They love the Street Profits, and as they should, because that was the thing too. People were thinking that because I really, really wanted LA Knight to win, that somehow meant I didn't enjoy Montez. And I'm like, no, I'm not rooting against Montez. Like, I'm just rooting for LA Knight in this moment because I think he needs it more at this moment. But when LA Knight came out, they were loud, but then when they first locked up and then kind of like backed off each other and they both acknowledged how loud it was. I mean, even Montez kind of like stood back and like smiled because it was like, damn, like I think, we know how loud they get for the Street Profits. But again, like I've said before, if you can get that type of pop when you're lined up in the ring against a guy like Montez or the New Day or whoever who always get a loud reaction, then you have to know you're over, because that was crazy. And it was throughout the entire match. And at the end, even when he got the ladder out, went up to the top, said LA Knight, yeah, they all were doing it.
They all said, yeah. You could hear it as they cut to the next segment or commercial break. It was, you have to listen to the fans in this instance, because here's the thing. You don't need him to cash in right away. To be honest, you don't want him to cash in right away.
Yeah.
All right. So let him be Mr. Money in the Bank and just do a shit ton of backstage stuff about how awesome it is for LA Knight to be Mr. Money in the Bank. Yeah. Like, there you go. You're welcome. Like, just little stuff like that where he just pops up. He has the briefcase. People are going to go crazy because, like, when are you going to do it? When is he going to do it? And they're going to already be so behind him. He has to win Money in the Bank. It's like a shoe-in.
Well, and what's great is who's in it so far. It's Shinsuke Nakamura, Ricochet, and LA Knight. Those are the 3 men in there so far. And I'm
It's
like, that's insane.
electric.
That's another thing. I know that I always like make fun of you or give you a hard time about being like, it's a new era, but I feel like that's like the
It is.
epitome of a new era. That is
There it is.
not
Thank
who
you.
the first 3 participants would be if Vince McMahon were still around. No way. There's no way. So
No way, no how.
Yep. And so they did announce more qualifying matches that will take place next week. We have 2 women and 2 men. So we will see Mia Yim versus Bailey and Shotzi versus Io Sky. Obviously, I need to see Io Sky. I'm assuming that we might get Io and Bailey in there, and that could lead to a thing between the 2 of them breaking up in the middle of the match or something. Like they both have an opportunity to get the briefcase or something. Then they turn on each other. I would love to see that. And then we also have Mustafa Ali versus Santa.
We don't think Mia Yim, Michin,
I mean, I'm not
Bailey
saying I don't
loses,
that
Io
she
wins. Bailey
think-
comes to the ringside to help Io because she has experience. And then but then like she can't, I don't know.
No, I think that I was saying if Io and Bailey win, like they both win their matches, they're both in the ladder match. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a moment where maybe they break up. Like maybe they're both climbing the ladder at the same time, and then they're like, "Oh, what do we do? What do we do?" And then either Io pushes Bailey off, or Bailey pushes Io off and gets the briefcase or something. You know what I mean? Like, or even if it's not for the briefcase, they turn on each other because it was like, "Oh my God, why are you trying to take this opportunity away from me? I want to be the women's champion. We're supposed to be in this together." I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happens. But we'll have to see who it all pans out to be too. Because I mean, I feel like Io should be the front runner for winning Money in the Bank, but
we have 2 picks here. Hold on, some Kingdom. We have people who give their blocks. Okay, Bernard gave his lock as Io, and Kingdom of Razor's lock is Zelina. So
I think, I don't know. I'm with Io right now. But we do have men's ones as well. Mustafa Ali versus Santos Escobar and Butch versus Baron Corbin. So
Baron Corbin loses, Carmelo Hayes interferes. That's what should happen.
Or Cameron Grimes. He was
yep. Yeah, I skipped a step.
Yeah. So I mean, and with Ali and Escobar, I feel like it could be either of them. I don't think there's a front runner there. It really just depends. Like Ali, I believe, is just a free agent. So
so it's
but I wouldn't be surprised if we see Escobar. I feel like that's a match that he could definitely be in and thrive, and I feel like that would be kind of cool. So yeah, I don't know. It seems like who they've chosen for the men's though is panning out to be kind of interesting.
Very
because this crop of dudes is like kind of random, but I mean, like, just to think, like, let's say like Ali and Butch win, it's like Ali, Butch, Nakamura, Ricochet, and LA Knight. Like, what? It's so random, but
that is for Money in the Bank for a potential WWE Championship match against either Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns.
Yeah, that's crazy. This is crazy.
Bernard's women's champion thing that we was saying, the news was that the women's championship hold on. I skipped a step. So I've read news about the women's titles, and they're changing the names and the titles from Raw and SmackDown to World Women's Championships. Okay. But like, okay, so
I wouldn't be mad if they had one that was like the WWE Women's Champion and then the like the World WWE World Champion or something. I don't know where
Universal Women's Champion.
World, Universal Women's, something like that. I want to be.
You got to continue the WWE Universe and all that. So.
Yeah,
I don't mind it. Because I actually was just thinking about this, that it's just complete and utter nonsense that you have the Raw Women's Champion drafted and on SmackDown and vice versa. So
and the men don't have like show specific titles. Like it's not called the Raw World Heavyweight title. You know what I mean? So it does kind of make it seem like there is a big difference between the women and the men still. And even if, you can pick it apart. Obviously, there are some problems there, but I feel like that is too obvious of being like, oh, there is a discrepancy here. And it's like, but why? Like, they don't need to be the Raw Women's Champion or the SmackDown Women's Champion. Like, they can be on their respective shows, but this way it allows them to trade them if they want. And it doesn't matter because the titles don't, belong to one show or the other.
Yeah,
and I feel like the men's titles have now been upgraded. Why don't we change the women's? They've looked exactly the same since they introduced them. So
exactly.
That's
what I'm feeling. I feel like we're gonna get way more new title unveilings.
Yeah, I'm all for it, honestly. And I would love to eventually see some mid-card women's titles, but that is a conversation that we can have on another day. So let's get into Roman's 1000th day celebration, which was technically his 1006th day as champion on SmackDown. The first thing, of course, as we just alluded to, was a new Universal or undisputed WWE Universal Championship is unveiled by Triple H. And I have to say, I love this new championship. I think it's perfect. I think it fits exactly the vibe for Roman because it's all gold. I love that it's all gold even for whoever's champion next, because it's like, okay, if we're combining the WWE and the Universal, then it should be grander and look, I don't know, like expensive. It should look, legendary. I know that it's not like a unique design, obviously, but we knew that was what it was going to be because of what the World Heavyweight Championship looks like. They were going to keep the big W at least for one championship.
You have to. Yeah, you have to.
So I love it. And I didn't see a ton of negative reactions about it either. So
the only one that I saw was that the color of it makes it look like mustard, like a mustard color, where to be honest, with the picture that I saw it with like attached, bad lighting. So I'm gonna say it just was a bad lighting pick.
I think it's like what happened with the Universal Championship. Like, it didn't look great on TV, and then once you saw like a better, like a high def picture of it, then you were like, oh, okay, it's not that bad, and now it looks good. But those first pictures that you saw on TV, it didn't look good.
No, it didn't to me. But the thing with this is they needed an out to get 2 titles off him.
Yep.
And this was planned, obviously, but I want to know how far back they had this idea of just giving him a new title to get 2 titles off to only go to the one now.
I remember seeing pictures of this one months ago when it was first rumored that Triple H has recently approved a new championship to be introduced. This was like months ago.
Oh, I remember.
And it looks a lot like this one. I don't remember exactly if it's identical, but it was just like a different version of the Big W. So I think it was this one. And so it's been a few months. And then there were rumors of having him drop it before Mania or at Mania. So I'm sure that there's probably been plans for a while. It's just that they have to go where the iron is hot. And obviously that's still with the bloodline, which is still crazy to think about, that this story is this old and it's still the main event basically for everybody,
Best story in wrestling.
So
not even close.
Continuing on with the ceremony, Roman gets in the ring. He gets his new championship. He has Triple H put it on him. Incredible. And he's about to ask like everyone to acknowledge him. He says the universe worldwide, they need to acknowledge him. And then as he's about to get into something else, the Usos music hits, which is a big deal because earlier in the show, Adam Pearce was like, don't worry about it. They're not going to be here. We canceled their travel. We have extra security. They're not going to be let in the building. And this reminds me, I can't remember who it was, but I was just watching a compilation video of when wrestlers break like the fourth wall. And I don't remember who it was. I want to say it was like Sammy or somebody, or like Kevin Owens, Dean Ambrose, somebody. I don't remember. But they were talking about how can we have all this extra security and these people are banned from getting in, but they always get in. They always get in. And it's like, so that it's funny because I just watched that like yesterday or the day before. And then this happens. And I was like, yeah, because they were like, we bulked up their security. They can't get in. And they get in. Like, perfect timing, too.
Perfect. Oh, great timing.
Yeah. So then, of course, when the Usos music hits, you see Triple H dip out, like, real quick.
He was out of there.
He was like, all right, good to see you. My job is done. Goodbye. I just thought that was funny. Just a big change for Triple H, you know? That was Paul exiting the ring, because Triple H would have been like, bring it, you know?
You'd have got a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
All locked and loaded.
I know. So,
assemble.
Yeah. So Jimmy and Roman kind of square up in the ring, and Roman tells Jay repeatedly, kick him in the face. Kick him in the face. Kick him in the face the way he kicked me in the face at Night of Champions. And so
Jimmy just owned up to it. I just love how he's like,
I did too. He was hyping himself.
He's like,
he was like, the kick heard around the world. Yeah, that was me.
I did that.
Yeah. And I was like, it's funny to see how different he and Jay are. Like, when they talk. They're just so different, the way they talk and the way they, like, I don't know, formulate a promo. Like, it's just so different, which is cool, because even though they're twins, they do have their own personalities and their own way of doing things, which I think is cool. So they're just going back and forth. Jimmy says that Roman is the one that needs fixing, because he had said, well, you need to fix your brother. And Jimmy's like, you're the one who needs to be fixed. You're manipulative. You betray your family. You put us down. All, whatever you do, all of this. Like, how does family do that to family? He says he and Jay will be together always because they're brothers. And Roman has not been a brother recently. So he includes Solo. My guy Solo, and he's like, Solo's our brother too. You really think that he's gonna want to stay around you the way that you're treating all of us and not come with us? So Solo gets on the mic after Roman's like, no, you're gonna listen. He's gonna take my side. Don't worry about it. Solo says, I acknowledge you, my tribal chief. And then he says, but they're my brothers. And then the whole world, everything just, like I say in the banner, all hell breaks loose, because it was like, oh my God, Solo is turning on Roman.
We're doing it. Yeah, I was ready for it. I popped a little bit down here. I
was so shocked. So I can't watch it live. So generally, I just kind of look and spoil SmackDown for myself before I watch it, and then I watch it anyway.
Masochist, you.
I quote tweeted the clip of Solo deciding to side with his brothers, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And then I see, like, literally a minute or two later, where he changes again, and so I deleted the tweet, because I'm like, what is wrong? Like, I didn't even have time to process what happened before something else happened. So after that, Solo gets pissed and gets in Jimmy's face, and I loved Jimmy just smushing his face and that
was a callback.
Yes, I loved that.
Unbelievable.
It was just good. And that was when, if you were on the West Coast, I'm assuming you guys didn't get it, but that was when the holy shit chants were bleeped for us, because the entire crowd was saying, holy shit, and all of it, for us, it's muted. And so I'm sitting there like, this is fun, for like the silence, 10 seconds of silence. And then, Jay is just like, we can't do this. Like, I need you. We need you. We all need each other. Like, we're family. We need to get over this. This is ridiculous. And they want to make things right. Jimmy proposes, like, hey, like, it's fine. Like, let's just fix this, whatever. And then Roman says, no. And then you're like,
after they embrace,
yes,
in one of the most just loving,
I know,
like, tight holding, being like, I love you, like, we're gonna get through this.
And we didn't even see Jimmy's face, right? But that it didn't matter, because Roman sold it so well. This is what I mean.
The tears, and then
I know. And the, like, almost like crying kind of thing. Like,
oh my God, he had me in tears.
Roman has
teared up a little bit.
Whatever Roman has been doing over the last few years, I don't know that he gets enough credit for how
he really doesn't. Yeah.
The strides he's made, and not just talking on the mic, but his body language, his facial expressions, just like how convincing he is. It is miles ahead of where he used to be. Because as I've said, when he was a part of the Shield, he was the weakest talker. That's why
He
he
didn't
didn't really
talk.
talk. Yeah, because he was the muscle. So they always gave the mic to, even if Dean Ambrose was kind of like off the rails most of the time, he still was like captivating when he talked. And Rollins, of course, is Seth Rollins. So
Yeah,
but
he was the solo of their group.
yeah, he was just the muscly, he was like their bouncer almost. Yes, I understand what you're saying. So he's really, I mean, but even like it's kind of been like the last few years though. I feel like it's the bloodline story that's kind of just like, I don't know what he's done, because even when he, he's main evented how many WrestleManias, and it was like 8 WrestleManias, 9 WrestleManias at
He's
this
been
point.
to like Hogan status.
Yeah, he wasn't great on the mic. It was just like they were trying to push him to be the next John Cena. And when I say push him to be the next John Cena, it was like literally trying to carbon copy John Cena.
It really is,
And
yeah.
it didn't work. And so him becoming a heel, I don't know. I don't know if that's what kind of made it work, but kudos to him, because I think that he's done a phenomenal job, and he's not the weak link in this story. So anyway, so after he says no, Jimmy kind of backs off and is like, what? And then Solo hits him with a Samoan spike. And it was like, oh my God, what is happening? So we
My
got
jaw
a
dropped.
brief moment of, hold on one second.
Oh, I thought you were telling me to. I thought you were like, like, hold on, champ. It's like,
I know it looks like I'm throwing her, but I'm not.
no, you can yeet her. Cats laid on
No,
their
I
feet.
don't. I'm not doing that. I'm saying it. I know it looks like it, but I'm not doing that. Anyway, so okay. Solo hits Jimmy with the Samoan spike. So as I said, you got to enjoy it for like 2 minutes of the brothers being against their cousin. And then that happens, and they exit the ring. Jay is consoling Jimmy. And as they're walking up the ramp, Paul says, But my tribal chief, what about Jay? And Roman says, he will fall in line like he always does. And then SmackDown ends. So
Just an amazing callback. Once again, the little details make the pudding that much sweeter. It really does. I mean, for the fact it's the dramatic irony in the sense that Roman has no idea why Jay truly came back to the bloodline. And then you now have he'll fall in line. Jay wants to fall in line, but this kind of was that straw that broke the camel's back when you hit a Samoan spike to excommunicate him from the family. It just, Sarah, 4 words: best story in wrestling.
well, and it feels like there's so many different ways that they can take this in between now and whenever it ends, because who knows when this is going to end.
I don't even care anymore.
I don't either, as now that it's focused on the bloodline itself, now that we're not discussing Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn as a part of it anymore.
Yeah.
It's more interesting now, and they've done a really good job about keeping us interested in that throughout however, the years, the months, whatever. It doesn't need an added element at this point. We're just like, okay, what's going to happen next, And it is interesting because you say we don't know why Jay came back, right? But he was upset that Jimmy didn't take his side while he was out and contemplating and being like not wanting to be a part of the bloodline and maybe thinking about joining Sami. So that's an interesting like layer to it that kind of makes you wonder if that's ever going to come to a head again, because now Jimmy is the one that's going against Roman. Jay is supporting Jimmy, but he didn't get that when he was going through this lapse in judgment, I guess, when it comes to Roman. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting also. I saw a lot of people's reactions, and we've talked about this, but it just because I saw someone put out this like lengthy tweet about it after the main event, and they were saying that the bloodline story has always been about Jay, and that it's always come down between Jay and Roman wanting Jay to fall in line and Jay not wanting to, and then Jay doing it, and it all goes back to main event Jay era, and that the focus of the entire thing is on Jay. And so even with Jimmy doing his thing now, Solo staying with Roman, so it started to make me think a little bit too, because I've been sitting here as the conductor of the Solos going to dethrone Roman train. And I'm not saying that I'm changing my opinion. I'm just kind of
come
like,
on.
I'm not changing my
I
opinion,
thought
but
you were joining.
no, I'm sorry. You just 76'd yourself. You let the
Whoa.
you confettied yourself too early. Okay.
Great reference on your part, though.
I know. But I'm more intrigued to see if that is what it ends up being, because I wouldn't be mad about that, obviously, because it would be a callback, I guess, to the origin of the bloodline and their bouts going back and forth, and Jay not being able to overcome Roman. I get that whole point. So I wouldn't be mad at that. But I also wouldn't be mad about it being solo, because then it keeps the Usos together and whatever. But I don't know. I just thought that was an interesting take, because I guess I watched the main event through a different view than that. Like, I wasn't sitting there thinking about, oh, this is about Jay. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. It definitely gives you a little clarity and more insight to like, oh yeah, this really did start when it was main event Jay and all that shit. So
Yeah. I think it just gave me a different viewpoint. And I was like, that's interesting, because there are, like I said, there are so many layers to this story, and there's so many ways that they can take it. And that was one way that I didn't consider. So I thought that was interesting. Do we have any comments before we move on to our Raw preview?
hold on. Let's see. You saw the pick, I saw that. Feel like Cody will somehow be added to the Money in the Bank somehow. If he does, we're gonna get Brock Lesnar interfering at Money in the Bank. So then that would make Brock appear at every single pay-per-view after WrestleMania this year, which that is insane in 2023.
I know. I wouldn't be mad about that, because then I think then they could have like their final match at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I'll set up the trilogy.
So that I would be fine with. But I think we have to see who else is added in the men's right now, because Cody would be like ridiculous to be added to who they have right now.
Oh, just
like it would be like, why is he in this match? Because all these dudes need to get the briefcase in order to be like in the main event picture, and then there's Cody. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't have that. Maybe he won't be at Money in the Bank if he's still trying to sell that broken arm.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know, but we shall see. Is there any other ones?
Deep down, Bernard, he says, deep down, I know it crushed Roman and Solo. Yeah. Jay is taking his brother's side, as he absolutely should. That is the whole purpose of the bloodline. Blood. And Roman and the Usos or Fatus, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, they're family, but they're blood, but different
Did you
types.
see when they were breaking down their family tree, and they said that Roman is their cousin but could like technically be their uncle? I'm like, how the hell does this work?
You don't question Samoan culture.
I'm just saying, it's just so weird. Like, and they could just list off everybody. They were like, yep, that's my cousin, that's my cousin, that's my cousin, that's my uncle, that's my dad's brother, that's it. I was just like, and then we're like, Roman is our cousin but also our uncle. I'm like, how? I'm so confused. But
Samoan culture and the Samoan wrestling dynasty, we'll call it, maybe one of the most fascinating aspects of the wrestling industry.
Yeah.
Do you know how long it took me to realize that Yokozuna was not actually Japanese and that he was Samoan?
Isn't that crazy that they even did that? Like, when you really think about it, like race swapping, you can't just do that.
Yeah,
you know?
no.
But no, I forget, wasn't there? Oh, I'd have to think about
appropriation, Sarah.
Because I think there's another wrestler or something like that where people thought he was one race, but he wasn't, and I can't remember.
Yeah, Kerwin White.
No one thought a man named Chavo Guerrero.
Kerwin White.
Yeah, okay. All he did was bleach his hair, like,
and drove a golf cart around.
Yeah, and wore a sweater vest, but that made him white. He's no longer Mexican. He's white now.
He was appropriating our culture.
It was so rude. I was so offended.
Him.
So anyway, let's talk a little bit about what we know that is happening on Raw, which there are 2 women's Money in the Bank qualifying matches, which I think these are fairly obvious. Becky Lynch versus Sonya Deville, Natalya versus Zoe Stark. Obviously, Becky and Zoe are probably going to be in the match together, I would assume, because that continues their rivalry right now and also can get Trish off of Money in the Bank because she doesn't have to be there every single week or at the pay-per-view for this to continue. That's kind of what we talked about, where it's like that is the benefit to Zoe being infused into this story. But I mean, I would say Zoe is more of the obvious one to me than Becky, but someone made a good point in my comments about Becky needing to be in the match because it's a show in the UK and you can't not have the Irish lass kicker.
Oh, it's the O2, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
the O2 is it's one of it's like that, the Tokyo Dome, Saraya, it's Saraya, right?
what?
Not Saraya, it's Saraya. I always
Saraya, yeah.
yeah. Saraya said that on Dynamite, that when one of her promos, whatever, that she's like, I've done the Tokyo Dome, I've done the O2, I've done Madison Square Garden. Like those three, I would say, are the biggest stages a professional wrestler could perform on. So yeah, you gotta have Becky Lynch in the O2. I was thinking you give Sonya a nice little present and put her in the match, give her some airtime. But yeah, Becky Lynch, you need that star power, you need to sell tickets, and Sonya Deville's not selling more tickets than the man herself.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see if they're going to add any more men's matches for Raw because they added those other two for SmackDown, but they haven't announced any for Raw. I'm assuming we'll get at least the last one because if there's going to be 6 men in the match, and I think that they will probably add at least one more men's qualifying
do like
match
a
on
battle
Raw.
royal or something.
But maybe they'll just schedule it for the next one so that then there's only like 2 weeks until Money in the Bank, which because it's July 1st actually. So
yeah, I saw that.
It's not that far away as it seemed from Night of Champions. So that's good.
Yeah, it's June 3rd. We're about a month away.
Yeah. And then we also have the confirmation of Seth Rollins will be defending his new World Heavyweight Championship for the first time against Damian Priest, who answered his open challenge on Twitter. I am excited about this match. I'm excited to see Damian continue to be pushed and be used and be utilized in the main event and get featured after being the only one left off of the Mania card of Judgment Day. And now it's like, who cares at this point? You had your own Mania moment against friggin' Bad Bunny in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, your best friend in your home country.
Yeah. And and now he's just thriving. So this is cool that he's going to be the first one of the Judgment Day to get a chance at the championship, and they're going to have a great match. I'm excited.
How often do you think Judgment Day gets involved? Do we, obviously there's no shot that Seth loses this.
Right.
I'm more interested in the fact that, or in how Judgment Day will get involved. Will it be a continuous feud with Seth versus Judgment Day? And he just keeps picking them off one by one, and then you get to for whatever pay-per-view, and then Seth gets like 3 guys. Maybe have Rhea Ripley face Seth Rollins, because we did see I saw that Rhea had some comments about intergender competition, and she said, I welcome it, essentially.
And she could, though. Like,
I'm watching old, you know me, I'm watching my old 1990s stuff.
Yeah.
And China was Intercontinental Champion.
I know, which is still so crazy to think about.
Insane.
And that she was in the Royal Rumble match, like, that's crazy. Because even when they've done that recently, they had Beth Phoenix, they had Nia Jax. Like, it didn't feel the same the way that it was with China, because they weren't the same, I don't know, dominant fixtures in the ring the way China did. So, seeing Rhea do that, I feel like would kind of feel similar. And I don't know, I feel like it would be pretty cool. She could hang with some dude. I think I'm just not sure that we're at that point yet. I think that she might keep talking about it because she wants to put it out there and see like people's reactions, while also kind of letting, the people behind the scenes be like, hey, like she's open to this. But I don't know that we're at that point yet, because we are in a very sensitive time in the world. And, men putting their hands on women, even if it's in a fake fight, like it's deemed offensive. So
Yeah,
I don't
live
know,
in a screwed up
but
world.
I wouldn't be opposed to Rollins feuding with Judgment Day and like picking them off, because I mean I want to see Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor all the time. So I
Oh, you
wouldn't
get that,
be
yeah.
I wouldn't be mad about that at all. But yeah, as you said, Rollins is obviously going to win, but regardless, I'm looking forward to it. So
Looking forward to it myself.
that was SmackDown and our preview of Raw.
That's how we do it. That's how we do it here. And the SmackDown breakdown, a presentation of Pitts and Sara's wrestling show. Which
Hold
thank
on.
you.
My number one fan is here.
He
Thank
is
you.
Micah. Let's go.
And he also says LA Knight for Money in the Bank. Yeah. Oh, and Bernard says he has him winning as well. I hope you guys are right, because that would be really exciting.
Where'd it go?
Yeah.
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 We need to get some more of his videos.
We need
on here.
more. All right. If you
Yeah.
guys have ideas,
We need to delete some of
send
these
more.
and get new ones, like the ones
We
we
do.
never use.
Yeah, we do gotta get
Like-
rid of them. Oh, keep that. Don't you dare.
Okay.
You gotta keep John Chana.
Yeah.
Because
And-
what is
Stand and deliver.
Have to. I can't get rid of that.
I can't, just because I love how he delivers, pun intended, that phrase. I
Yeah.
love
Stand and deliver.
deliver.
I love it.
Oh, but if you have any suggestions on videos or things you would like us to see, you got to subscribe to Sarah's YouTube channel and let us know in the comments or messages below, because we want to hear from our peeps. We want you guys to be subscribed. We have some great content over at Sarah's YouTube channel. Not only could you watch all of our old streams, but if you don't have an hour and 1 minute and 35 seconds to watch us Royal Ramble about SmackDown or any other show, then you can go check out the clips that we have over, I think 300 or 400 at this point, clips, trying to build that YouTube channel, trying to get paid for this shit so that we can make this our full-time job and I don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. every day to go and make a living. So, oh, that's sore. Okay. I just got a text from a number on my laptop and I got like freaked out, didn't know who it was. Really distracting. Back on track here. So go do that. And then after you subscribe, let us know that you subscribe to Sarah's YouTube channel by hitting us up and following us on all the social media platforms, Twitter, at Pat_Pitts and at SMarshXO. I mean, I followed back some of the regulars, I would say, here in the Artist streams. I followed them back because if you are here, I'm gonna follow you back. That's what the champ does. All right, I'm a man of the people, champ of the people. I show love when need be. Sarah, you do too. So definitely follow us on Twitter, Instagram as well, Pitsy35 and at SMarsh_. All right. I'm trying to build up my Instagram game there. And then I'm trying to think of anything else more. TikTok, SMarshXO, correct?
Yep. Smart check.
Alright.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Smart, yes. So go check that out. And then a little personal announcement myself, as the champ of not only the peeps here, but the Patriot peeps as well. And we had Sora on, my co-host for the Gillette Gazette, on our, just regular wrestling show yesterday. Shout out to Sora. But we do the Gillette Gazette. If you're a Patriots fan or football fan, we do that over at Stadium Rant. Go follow that on YouTube. Subscribe to that as well. But the reason I'm making this announcement is because I'm going live on Monday night, right before Raw at 7 p.m. I'll be going live with a little project I have been working on called the Nonsense Sports Network. I have my own Patriots team. We are the militia, and we are in the playoffs. So I've done all the season highlights on the Gillette Gazette. Go check those out if you want to know what's going on. DeAndre Hopkins and Mac Jones are on the same team. How well does that work out? Go check it out for yourself. Then tell Bobby Kraft to check it out so that he can actually make the move and make that happen. But I'm going live on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Nonsense Sports Network, Monday at 7 for the first round of the playoffs. Because I don't think I got a bye, Sarah. I don't think I got a bye. But if I don't, it'll be the first game of the playoffs. So go and check that out right before Raw. A little nonsense before you get into the real nonsense of the sports entertainment world. So that's all we got for you today. Thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you could do it. All you got to do is try. We will see you next episode.